Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate. Today we're taking a look at My City by Reiner Knizia and Kosmos Games.
My City is a polyomino tile-laying legacy game where players build their own city depending on the cards that are played. Let's look at it on the table.
All right, so I have My City on the table here. And in this game, you are going to be building a city over and over and over again. And you're going to be doing this at the mercy of this deck of cards right here, as it's going to dictate which of these polyomino tiles you are going to be placing out. And in this game, players are going to be doing this simultaneously. So how a round works, we flip over a card and everybody takes a look at what piece is on this card. So for instance, we've got this red one right here. Now, as you can see, there are differing shapes, and each of these shapes has three of the same colors. You've got a blue one, a red one, and a yellow one. And so we needed the red one. And so we have the red L piece here. And your first tile that you place, you're going to have to place it with one edge touching the river in some fashion. So for instance, I could place right here because I've got this long edge that touches the river. However, I could not place like this because corners are not edges. So you have to have a complete edge. So let's say I place right here. Now, from that point forward, every tile that I place thereafter has to be adjacent to a tile that's already on the board, as is the case with a lot of polyomino games. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to cover up all the light green spaces. I'm also trying to cover up these rocks because leaving them showing at the end of a round is negative. You'll get negative points for that. And I am trying to avoid covering up any of these trees that stick out, not the forest area here. In fact, you can't place tiles on the forest area, nor can you place tiles over here on the mountain. And you cannot place a tile that overlaps the river. So you have to place it fully on either one side or the other side. And that's pretty much the game. You go through this deck of cards and it will show you new tiles that you place out. And again, everybody places the same tile at the same time, keeping in mind you have to be adjacent to where a tile already is. And you go on until players can no longer place any tiles. Now, if there was a tile that comes up that you don't want to place, so say for instance it's later in the game and I don't want to place this square tile, or maybe I can't place it, I just don't have anywhere on my board that it will fit, I can refuse to build it and I will lose a point for doing so. We start off with 10 points every round, so that's why that 10 is a different color there. And I'll go down 1 point for every building that I don't want to build. Now, this is a legacy game, and so the rules are going to change even after the very first game that you play. You'll have new things come up. I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone, but you'll have new things come up, new ways to score points, and new things you'll have to deal with throughout the course of the legacy campaign. What I will tell you is that mostly the outcome for those who do not win the round or the game is something positive, something to help them do better later on throughout the campaign. For those that win, the game will become more challenging. It will kind of set them back a little bit. So there's a bit of a catch-up mechanic in this game for those who are struggling to do well. And so that's how that works. Now, every time you do win, you are going to fill in these bubbles here. And the winner of the overall campaign is whoever has the most bubbles filled in. Also, if you ever exceed 50 points here, you'll see that there's a bubble here at the bottom, and that gives you another bubble that you get to fill in. So it's not just about winning the game, but it's also about trying to get 50 or more points, as that helps you to fill in your bubbles there in the top. Now, if you don't want to do the legacy game, there is on the back side of this board a way to play this game after you're done with the legacy campaign. Or if you just don't want to do the legacy, you can play it like this. And it works predominantly the same way. The differences are that you are going to want to surround this well here with different building pieces. You want to try to put 4 different building pieces around the well. And if you do so, you're going to get 4 points. And so, like for instance, I might try to do something like I'll get in my hand here, like so. And I've got 4 different buildings around the well, and that will give me the 4 points that I need there. And then also you'll see that there is a gold pot here, and also one up there in the top corner. And the first player to cover up both of those will announce it when they do, and they will get 3 additional points. Now, there are a couple of other rules to this Eternal game, is what it's called, the non-legacy version of the game. However, those rules come out of the legacy portion of the game, and so without spoiling that for you, I'm going to leave you to learn that on your own as you work through these different envelopes and the different episodes in each of the envelopes. And that's pretty much the gist of the game. That is how you play My City. Okay, so here's Sam and I doing a 2-player playthrough of My City, and right now we're going to share our thoughts and what we like and don't like about this game. And I'll go first real quick and just let you guys know that I think My City is kind of a game that's going to give you a whole range of emotions. There are going to be times when you really connect with this game and you feel like, man, this game works. This game, you know, it goes real well with me and it gives me a good feeling. And then there's going to be times where you're going to feel the exact opposite. Or at least that's what our experience was, that there are times when you feel like this game is just trying to tick you off, that there are, one bad card after another, and you're left having to kind of find ways to cope with that and deal with it and still try to keep some semblance of a strategy working for you so that you can do the best you can do. And so with that being said, this is a frustrating game, or at least that's my experience. Now, does that mean it's a bad game? Is it a bad experience? For me, I would say no. I actually kind of enjoyed that frustration. I enjoyed the challenge that it presented me, and just flipping over the card and finding, man, this does not really work well for what I've got going on here. What can I do about that? And then the next card, same thing. This really does not work. And it's almost kind of a laughable kind of experience at times because of how badly everything can go. And you're not the only person experiencing that. That's everybody's going through it. And there's kind of an enjoyable thing about that. Sam, what were your thoughts on this game?
I think I can honestly say I've never had so much of a love-hate relationship with a game before. Even as we're sitting here recording this, I'm watching the playthrough, and this was our first time playing it, going, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
What were you doing? We've played, how many games have we played of this now?
10.
Yeah, so we've played quite a bit. Tiles have been thrown. Fits have been had all by me. This is typically my type of game. I like polyominoes. I like puzzly games, but this is so frustrating. Mm-hmm. You start, typically how we'll start these games, we'll play 2 or 3 in a row, and the first time it's fun, we're laughing, oh my goodness, I can't get these in where I need them to go, and by the 3rd game I'm done and I tell Lance I'm not playing it again, and then I come back to the table and I play it again.
Yeah. So this is one that keeps drawing you back. It keeps you coming back to it, huh?
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
Because I like the puzzle. I like trying to figure it out. I like the feeling when it looks good, it looks pretty, you get things where they need to go. Most polyomino games like this, though, you are not, you don't have to play a specific piece.
Right.
And that's the frustrating part. I've compared this game to Isle of Cats or Patchwork, where, you have your grid, you have your area, you know what the goal is, but it's up to you to pick and choose your pieces. Mm-hmm. And you're limited to an extent, but this is extremely limiting.
Yeah.
To where you have to choose that one piece, and you both have the same board, you both have the same pieces. And that aspect, you think, okay, well, this is going to be a pretty close game, but it's not. It really isn't, because the river is limiting. After the second round, when, one person may have an extra tree, one person may have an extra rock, mm-hmm. Your board starts to look differently. And you just really see how different each person can play it.
Yeah. Yeah, this game definitely has diverging paths after the very first episode. Mm-hmm. And Some people are going to do better at this, I think, than others. This is going to be one that people just have kind of a knack for figuring out these Tetris-style puzzles, whereas others are going to have a harder time for that. And there are going to be those that I think they succumb to that frustration a little bit more than other people. And you're going to probably experience that some people like this more than others. And so I think, I can't say for certain, but I think that a lot of gamers are going to enjoy that feeling probably a little bit more than non-gamers.
That may be why I keep coming back. I know that feeling. As much as I am a non-gamer, I still play a lot of games, and that's probably what draws me back to it.
Sure. Now, I do want to say real quick, this is a legacy game. It can be played without the legacy to it, but by and large, it's meant to be a legacy experience. And so with that being the case, legacy games in their nature, they change, they evolve throughout the course of playing it. The rules change. Typically, there tends to be more rules added on top of what you learn in the first 1 or 2 episodes or playthroughs of it. And this is no different. You're going to have new things added to it. We have not completed the legacy, although we've experienced a good portion of it. And so, Sam, what would you say to that? I know legacy games are meant for heavy gamers usually.
Yes.
What would you say to that as a non-gamer?
I think this is a great starting point for gamers and non-gamers to start legacy games. I've only played only one other legacy game before, and it was not my cup of tea. I want to play a game and be done. I don't want to play a game and then have to come back and play the same game again. Now, granted, it does change slightly with each round, but it takes time. But I will say I was complaining to Lance that I felt like I was so behind in this game, but this one really is set up so that if you lose, you kind of get an advantage the next time. And if you win, you get a disadvantage. So it does start to even out. And we're slowly seeing that as the more games we play. And I would think that would be an ideal if you're trying to play with a non-gamer or somebody who's never played a legacy game. This would be the type of legacy game you would want to break them in on with. Yes.
Because it does that catch-up mechanic, or at least it tries to anyhow.
Yes.
It tries to help out the person who's struggling to feel like, oh, I've still got a chance. I can still win the next one. And I like that. I like that it does that. Now, that being said, it's still a very frustrating game. And so what I kind of want to say in summarization on this is that, yes, this would be the right kind of legacy game to play with a non-gamer, but it's not without its issues that are still going to probably poke a non-gamer in a not so great way.
Yes.
But it's a fantastic game. It's not a bad game by any means. So, like Sam said, there's a love and hate kind of thing going with this game, and I love that there is that love and hate with it. I don't know, that's just weird. So real quick, Sam, the things you like about this game. You like how quick it is. You like how simplistic the rule set is. You like that there's polyominoes.
Yes.
And that works for you. Maybe the things you're not so too keen on, though.
It's so limiting. I need more open concept.
You need more control,
Yes,
I think.
yes.
That deck of cards really kind of gets under your skin, doesn't it? Me too, folks. That deck of cards, like, you have no control over that deck of cards, and you want control in this game, but you just have to go with what is thrown at you. And that's why this game is fun in a sense. There is that no control, and you have to prepare as best you can for it. So, all right, scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. What do you give this game? Keeping in mind that we've not completed the whole entire legacy, but up to the point that we have, what do you give this game?
This is a really hard one to rate because of the love to hate aspect of it. But the first number that comes to my mind is a solid 8.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I do like playing it. It is an easy game to play, even though it's so freaking frustrating.
I'm actually kind of shocked. I thought you were not going to give this game.
Yeah, well, maybe next time we play, I'll rank it lower. But at this very moment, it's an 8.
Okay, all right. I'm right around in that same ballpark. I'm giving this game an 8.2 so far. I do feel like it starts off very simple, and you're kind of gonna play that first time through it, and you're gonna be like, "Man, is this all there is to it?" But it changes, and it changes in good ways to provide nice, thinky puzzles to have to try to deal with and overcome. And I like it so far, folks. I really do.
Yes.
I'm excited to see where it finishes up at. So.
Okay, well, make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button for new notifications of all our new content. And we may put out another video when we finish this Legacy about what we thought about the entire Legacy game.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.